To this evening's appreciation program. On behalf of the Gita Reading Society, the Management Committee, the Harinam Society, we want to thank all the devotees who are present here today, because each and every one of you contributed to making this year's Ratha Yatra a resounding success. Some of you must have seen the videos. I saw the one in YouTube, and many devotees around the world kept writing to me, those who knew me at least. They wrote to me saying that from the video it looks like you had 10,000-12,000 people. Videos, have a way of, I won't say distorting, but they have a way of making things look very nice. But it was really nice, because we had so many devotees coming. And when I got feedback from the committee, we also realized that many new devotees, many new persons who had, for the first time, many of them came. Of course, when we asked them why you came, most of them who came because they heard of Madhava's rock band. We asked them, have you heard of Gita Reading Society? No. But Madhava's rock band, yes. So the strategy that the committee worked on was to try and attract more people to come to Krishna consciousness by giving them something that would attract them. And that is the essence of Krishna consciousness. To somehow or another find ways and means to attract people to come for our programs. Of course, the ways and means must be based on Shastra. It must be based on Sadhu, and it must be based on Guru. So Guru, Sadhu and Shastra must be there. And we really, from the deepest of our hearts, we want to thank Madhava's rock band. I know they're not here. If we could have made an appreciation program for them, it would have been wonderful if they were here. But I think they made everything different this year. You would agree with me. They got so many people who would never dance to dance. They got young people to dance. If you saw the young children going up stage, and they were all dancing. And that was so nice, because it became such a part of a memory that they would never forget. And so I think in that way, it was very wonderful to have Kirtan as the center point of our activity. His Holiness Romapad Maharaj was here to grace the occasion, and we are very thankful and grateful for his Sadhu Sangha. Even though he's now in India, we wish that he was also here with us to appreciate him, because the time that he spent with us over that weekend and the association and blessings that he gave us is also another reason why this year's Ratha Yatra was a great success. So all glories to His Holiness Romapad Maharaj. Romapad Maharaj told me that generally he will come through Singapore only at that particular weekend. So if the committee is thinking of having Ratha Yatra that weekend, then you'll be assured of having Maharaj, except for one thing. Maharaj wanted a question-answer booth where he didn't have to hear the kirtan so loudly that he couldn't preach. I informed him, Maharaj, the only way we can do that is to book another stadium outside our stadium, or to get a tentage outside our stadium, because it was so loud. But he appreciated, because he said in the US, it is very different. Because in the US, he said, you will have so many people on the street, like in India also. You don't have to worry about people, because the moment you take the Rath out, people are on the street. And then you just count the people on the street and you say, all these people attended the Ratha Yatra. Isn't it? That's what we all do. I do it in India also. But here it's very difficult, because Maharaj said, here you have to bring people to a place, and then they have to go round and round and round, and you have to make them stay. So to have so many devotees and so many living entities come together and stay in one place for a sustained period of time is very difficult. So Maharaj was very appreciative of all the efforts that the devotees did. All the effort that everyone did went into so many services. You had the building of the Rath, you had the decorations, all the stalls that we saw, amazing publicity this year. We had so much of prasadam every year, so much of prasadam and so much of effort in cooking prasadam. and all the other organizers in various aspects that made the event a success. If we could, we would thank each and every one right now. But if we did, you throw me out because there won't be time for prasadam. But on behalf of the devotees who organized it, we do want to highlight a few names. That is not to say that nobody else who were not named did not do service. But you all would agree that the devotees who are named here, they worked extremely hard to bring the programs together. One team that I can remember, and I was speaking to Ratha Prabhu, is Paramatma Chaitanya Prabhu and Padma Radhika Mataji. Padma Radhika Mataji was already expecting, and actually she gave birth, and in fact 1 week before Ratha Yatra she had given birth. But I was informed by the devotees that both Prabhu and Mataji did so much of background work before Ratha Yatra, while she was already moving towards the last part of her soon-to-be labor. And you all know how Paramatma Chaitanya Prabhu works. He's always been a stalwart devotee, even when it came to the chalets, like the chalet we organized last year for Harinam, Giridhari Maharaj, he was there, so was Padma Radhika Mataji. So they worked very hard before the Ratha Yatra, during the Ratha Yatra. I don't know whether Paramatma Chaitanya Prabhu is here, but I know Mataji would be here. But we pray and we wish them all the best. Their little boy, by the way, is named Sham Sundar. What a beautiful name, Sham Sundar. So we want to thank them very much for being so important in this arrangement. We want to thank Dameshwari Mataji. I know she should be here. I know she's... Mataji, I just saw you. Dameshwari Mataji worked very hard to gather a team of devotees to work on the decoration of the Rath. And if you all saw the decoration, the first thing that struck me about the decoration was just one word. It was very, very sweet. Decorations don't have to be loud, but the mood of Krishna consciousness is always sweetness. Sweetness is actually the domain of devotional service. When we sing Gora Arati, for example, and you read the actual reading of Gora Arati, you hear Bhaktivinoda Thakur saying that the kirtan is sweet and melodious. So the mellow of Krishna is always sweet. And I think Dameshwari Mataji, you captured that sweetness of devotional service. You inspired many devotees to work, a good team of devotees were with you. And I think they all worked very well because you were inspiring them very much. So I think we should also appreciate Dameshwari Mataji for working very hard, shouldn't we? Maybe we can say Hari Bol. Hari Bol! Can we say aloud Hari Bol to Paramatma Chaitanya and Padma Radhika Mataji? So wherever they are also, they should be able to hear. Hari Bol! Then Prakash Govindan Prabhu is not here. I know he's out of town, but he recently joined us. Some of you may know him, may have seen him, may not. The next time he comes, I'll ask him to stand up. Now he is an aspiring disciple of His Holiness Romapad Maharaj, and he comes from the US. He was working and preaching there, and he actually comes from MIT in Boston, right? It's a premier institute. And not only is he an alumni of MIT, after he came out of that, he took up Krishna consciousness and he single-handedly turned around the preaching program in the MIT as well as in the surrounding universities in the Midwest of US. And Romapad Maharaj told me even now as he sits in Singapore, he organizes university preaching programs in the US. So he's an extremely talented devotee and he's extremely good at publicity. And Maharaj told me all you have to do, Devaki, is unleash him in Singapore. And if you unleash him, he will create so much damage that many people will actually sign up for Krishna consciousness. And I think because of his mood in bringing publicity to a whole new different level, he got this innovative idea of getting people to sign up, to register. And we had thousands of people who did that. I think his likes, Prabhu, for the viewing of the Ratha Yatra event came up to what? 50,000 views. That's amazing. And we haven't had that kind of publicity before. So Prakash Govindan Prabhu and Mataji, who was actually at the stall, she was manning the bookstall together, I remember, with Pushpa Gopal Prabhu and the other devotees. We must really thank them because publicity is so important to what we do. What is the point of doing something in Krishna consciousness if we cannot spread it? The other word for publicity is spreading. And Prabhupada always spoke about spreading Krishna consciousness. So if you substitute spreading with publicity, you realize how important it is to our preaching movement. So that is Prakash Govindan Prabhu. So loud Haribol for him also. Then we have Pushkar Prabhu and Nilambari Mataji. Pushkar Prabhu, are you here? I thought I saw you. Jai. Mataji, are you here also? Haribol. You would have seen them, I think, at the chart stall, right? And they were leading a team of at least, 20 devotees, Prabhu? Or 20 odd devotees? And I remember I remember passing by, and I remember the devotees there were shouting and calling people to come and take prasadam. I think that should be the way to do it. Yes, I think you were there, Prabhu. That should be the way. Now, next time what we should do is we should go out to Sriman Road and shout for people to chant the holy names of the Lord. That's what we should do. But it was so nice because they worked very well. And am I right, Devakinandan Prabhu, that the stall was so successful, everything was successfully sold out? If it's sold out, it means it's successful. So it's wonderful. And because of that, I think, that's why our prasadam consumption actually reduced. Right? Because so many people were so attracted to the stall that after that they lost their appetite, you see. So, all glories to the hard work. Pushkar Prabhu and Mataji, they are regular devotees in our congregation. And I've had the good fortune of speaking with Prabhu, and I know that Mataji's service attitude is first class. We welcome them, we thank them for all the hard work that they have done, and we welcome and thank the team that worked so hard to bring this up. Kavichandra Maharaj, when he was here, he told me there is no more important stall in Ratha Yatra than actually the prasadam stall. You need to get it right. If you get it right, people forget everything, but they never forget the prasadam. So thank you very much. So Haribol for them. Haribol! Then I want to thank all the Bengali and Bangladeshi devotees. Because honestly, we don't have your stamina, we don't have your energy, we don't have your enthusiasm, and all we can do is learn from all of you. When we see the smiles on your faces as you dance with the Rath, when we see how much hard work you do in preparing prasadam, doing all the late work, I have never seen any one of you complain, never seen any one of you look tired. All your energy is coming from Krishna, Srila Prabhupada and Srila Gurudev, because you all are so sincere. His Holiness Bhakti Charu Maharaj was telling me that these devotees, when I come here, they think I'm giving them inspiration. But they are giving me inspiration. This is how Maharaj was appreciating all of you. Special mention to Brahmananda Prabhu from Arasagesri Temple. Is he here today? Brahmananda Prabhu, thank you for joining us. Because I think, if I'm not wrong, Prabhu cooked the biryani rice, Prabhu?
Yes.
And he cooked it for 5,000 people. 5,000. Amazing. Krishna has really given you full potency. Thank you very much, Prabhu, for this amazing service.
450 kg rice.
How many kg? 450 kg. That's heavier than a sumo wrestler. That's a lot of rice. Thank you, Prabhuji. We are really grateful to you, and Jagannath will bless you. We also want to thank Dhaval Krishna Prabhu, because from start to end, is Dhaval Prabhu here? He's here. He is very quiet, but he's an extremely talented devotee. He's a preacher par excellence. He's very expert with so much of social media. He's very expert with artwork. This time, I think he designed the artwork for the Ratha Yatra. Am I right, Prabhu? So whatever that you see in social media was designed by Dhaval Krishna Prabhu. Very loud Haribol to him. And where is Atul Prabhu? Atul Prabhu, are you here? Right here.
Behind.
Where is Atul Prabhu?
He's at.
The cameraman. That's you. Yes. Atul Prabhu, you must show the camera to yourself actually. He is our cameraman. And if you saw, I think you would have seen him moving around, taking beautiful movies and shots and everything. He has invested his time, his effort to actually get first class equipment. And he and Dinabandhu Chaitanya Prabhu, are you here, Prabhu? Dinabandhu Prabhu? Yes. They are now at the moment chronicling and documenting our yatras history, our yatras activities, and they're doing it in the most professional of manner. So we want to thank you, Atul Prabhu. You worked very hard. You did all the photography, you're doing all the video, you're videoing me right at the moment. But really, thank you so much. Can we have very loud Haribol? Last but not least, I think we should thank Sumit Prabhu very much. Because you all would know that Sumit Prabhu is the person who worked very hard to get all of you together. And he endured many, many days and nights, which I'm sure he never slept very well. Mataji would know, I suppose. Is Vrinda Mataji here? Oh, you're here, Mataji, yes. And his work rate is amazing. He's full of activity. He's always smiling. And even if he, wants to push someone, he has a very nice way of pushing someone. And I like that ability. One thing is to get things done, but it's another thing to get things done in a fast manner. So Sumit Prabhu, you worked extremely hard to get Ratha Yatra to where it is. We can only imagine the challenges you faced, but we want to thank you very much, Prabhu, for doing this. Loud Haribol to Sumit Prabhu. Haribol! I think it's also very important to thank Raghunandan Prabhu, who's walking down the stairs right now. Because, he's the one who prepared my thank you note, but he hadn't put his name there. Why? Because Raghunandan Prabhu, year after year, oversees the Ratha Yatra. And I tell you, it is the most difficult festival. Being in charge of festival is a thankless task. Very difficult. Because if you satisfy one group of people who tell you the festival was wonderful, Prabhu, then people who say, Prabhu, the festival should have been this way. We can never satisfy everyone. But every year, I find that Raghunandan Prabhu, Sumit Prabhu and his team, they are positive, they are tolerant, they are humble enough to accept feedback, and where they feel they have to do something, they have worked very hard to please everyone. Of course, we can't please everyone in this world, but in trying to please the Vaishnavas, the Supreme Lord and Srila Prabhupada become pleased. So Raghunandan Prabhu, thank you for continuing this service year in, year out. I have never seen you get tired. I know it can be very taxing on you, but we want to thank you from the bottom of our heart and express our gratitude. Loud Haribol for you. And to all the donors, we will come to a point, we'll have an opportunity to thank all of you personally, but each and every one of you who came forward to give Lakshmi for the Ratha Yatra, our heartfelt thanks to you. I think if I'm not wrong, Advaita Prabhu, we didn't do so badly, right? We're almost close to breaking even. I think the cost of the whole Ratha Yatra would have been what? 40,000? 42,000? 55,000. We spent $55,000 on Ratha Yatra. And if you think it's too much, why don't you sit with us and we'll tell you where the money went. If you want a Ratha Yatra of this size, if you want Madhava's rock band to come, if next year we want Indradyumna Maharaj to come, if next year we want, Bibi Govinda Maharaj to come, if we want all these devotees to come, then we have to be prepared for another $55,000. If we want a big stage, an excellent sound system, then $55,000 must be coming. So all of you worked very hard to get it ready. I know that, we're still collecting a little bit more. Let's see how much we have to hit. At least we should try to cover. We are covered, Prabhu? Okay, so we are covered. 55 out and 55 in. So, but next year, we have to grow. We have to keep growing every year. We should not stop here and say, this is enough. In Bhagavatam, it is very nicely stated that Krishna loves two things. He loves devotees who cooperate, and he loves devotees who don't disagree, but whose only agreement and common factor is actually Krishna. Prabhupada writes in the purport of the 4th canto, 30th chapter, 8th verse. He says that between Vaishnavas, there are actually no disagreements. There can be no disunity also between Vaishnavas, because our aim is always the same. Whether your standard is very high or maybe my standard is not so high, our aim is still the same. We want to please Jagannath, we want to please Srila Prabhupada. My only request to all the devotees is, never set your standards so high that you start offending devotees. Never do that. It is better that devotees do what they can according to their propensity. Because don't worry about whether Jagannath accepts it or not. Jagannath is actually Bhavagrahi Janardana. He sees the essence of our mentality, not the product. If the Rat looks very nice but our mentality was offensive, Jagannath doesn't accept the Rat. He accepts the mentality. This is Bhagavatam. If our mentality was really devotional, But the Rath somehow or another did not apparently externally look very nice. It doesn't matter to Jagannath, because Jagannath is concerned with our hearts. So as leaders, we must always balance the need between raising our standards and encouraging devotees, even if they are not up to the standard. Finally, Prabhupada, if he wanted to start the movement based on his standards, we would never have an ISKCON, because Prabhupada is pure devotee. But Prabhupada started with nothing, but he gradually trained all his men to become Pakka. We must learn from Srila Prabhupada. People were not up to standard during Prabhupada's time. Disciples were doing funny things. Jai Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Mai Ki. But it didn't matter to Prabhupada. All Prabhupada was seeing is the essence of the devotional mentality of the devotee. So my humble request to each of you, every time you come to Gauranga Center, if you want to maintain standards, lovingly tell someone that there is a standard. But when it comes to areas like Ratha Yatra and Janmashtami, where your view of how something should be done and somebody else's view differ, always remember, better to be united and please Krishna than to be different and displease Krishna. That is more important. So this is the mood in which we should approach all devotees. We humbly seek your forgiveness if there have been any shortcomings on our part, if we were not able to give you the best facilities that you would have. We pray that you would forgive us, and we pray that we continue to work together. It doesn't feel like a Friday, it feels like a Saturday actually. So we all stand up now. We receive their lordships for the final arati. Our prayer to Jagannath today should be a special prayer. That Jagannath, you made it a very successful Ratha Yatra. We are all instruments in your hands. We offer everything we have to you, and please guide us, Prabhu, so that we can become better and better instruments in your hands. This should be our prayer to Jagannath. Nimitta Matra Bhavya Satya Sachi. Let us all become instruments. Jai Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Mai Ki. Jai. Srila Prabhupada Ki. Jai. Srila Gurudev Ki. Jai. Ananta Gori Vaishnavrinda Ki. Jai. Yathai Gaura Premanande. Let's chant.